Tabla Tarang round 3. We are going to be doing an Ajrada Gharana Kaida. Now, what does that mean? We are certainly going to be doing a Kaida, that much is sure. But what does Ajrada Gharana mean? First of all, what is a Gharana? Gharana, and I've written it here for those of you who can read the Devanagari script. Gharana is a Hindi word, same root as the word ghar, which means house or home. Gharana is a word which literally translates to family or household. In terms of music, in the music world, it is used to denote a unique style of playing or singing. Um, it is named after the place that the originator of that style belonged to. So, Ajrada is a place. It's in North India, in a state called Uttar Pradesh. For those who know about India, it's somewhere near Meerut in Uttar Pradesh. Gharanas are found in vocal music, in instrumental music, and even in Kathak. In vocal music, you can hear of Gwalior Gharana, Agra Gharana, Jaipur Atroli Gharana. There are many, many more. In Kathak, there are only three Gharanas, the Banaras Gharana, the Lucknow Gharana, and the Jaipur Gharana. And in Tabla, there are six Gharanas. So I am listing the Gharanas here in alphabetical order. In most books or other articles, you will find these gharanas listed in order of when they were created. But I find it easier to remember them in terms of the alphabetical list. You don't need to remember them, but this is how I remember them. The first two are AB, then there's DF, and then there's LP. So AB comes easily, the first two letters of the English alphabet. And then you don't do a C, you do a D. You don't do an E, you do an F, and then you do LP. So that's how I remember that these are the six gharanas. The first one is Ajrada. Now I've written this in Hindi also for those who can read the Devanagari script because it's easier to pronounce it. This script is very much a what you see is what you read kind of a thing. It's not like English where it can be r or a ra, d or da, or in fact it can be this Ajrada or Ajrada or Ajrada. It's hard to say, but here you read it in Hindi and you know exactly how to pronounce it. So that's why I have it in Hindi here, so at least some of the parents can read it and pronounce it correctly, even if the children can't. So the six gharanas are Ajrada, Banaras, Delhi or Delhi. So Delhi is the way it is said in Hindi or in the Indian languages, but Delhi is how the Britishers started saying it, and it's still called Delhi in English. So you can call it Delhi or Delhi, whichever one you prefer. Then there's Farrukhabad, there's Lucknow, and there's Punjab. So, um, for those who don't know, Satish ji has two main gurus. He has other gurus also, but his two main gurus were from Farrukhabad and Lucknow Gharanas. So, if you've heard of Pandit Arvind Murgaonkar, he often talks of him. He's from the Farrukhabad Gharana, and Pandit Swapan Chaudhary, who is here in the Bay Area, he is from the Lucknow Gharana. But today, and for round 3, we will be doing an Ajrada Gharana Kaida. Now, what exactly does this mean? What is this unique style of Ajrada Gharana? Here are the main points which make an Ajrada Gharana Kaida unique. Uh, all, or at least almost all, these gharanas are in Tishra Jati. Tishra or Tisra, depending on how you say it. First of all, let me again explain the word Jati. Jati is the Hindi or the Sanskrit word Jati, which literally translates to caste, like the caste system in English. And in terms of tabla, it it is just a way of denoting the number of bowls to a beat. So when I have three bowls to a beat, it is a tisra jati kaida. It can be three or a multiple of three. So 3 or 6 would be tisra jati kaida. 4 would be chatusra jati. 5 would be khanda jati, and so on. So just one note. I'm saying jati here. That's the Hindi way, the Sanskrit way of saying it. Many Marathi speakers, they say z for j. So jati becomes zati. It is the same thing. It's just, it's zati in Marathi and it's jati in Hindi. You can choose whichever way you want to say it, but as long as you know you're talking about the same thing. So these are Tishra Jati Kaida. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That kind of a chalan. The Chatusra Jati would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, for example, dhate, dha dhate, something like that. And Tisra Jati would be uh, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The other point is that they have a lot of, so for example, in your non-Ajrada Gharana Kaidas that you might have done earlier, Farrukhabad, Delhi Gharana Kaidas, most of your Kaidas probably ended with a Dhinna Gena, Dhage Dhinna Gena, something like that. So in Ajrada, what happens is the ending Gena is replaced with a Ne. So dhinna gina becomes dhinna ge ne, and dhage dhinna gina becomes dhage dhin, maybe dhine dhinna ge ne, something like that. What this does is that it gives you the ability to play faster. With a gena or dhinna gena, you have to, the playing wise, it is a little that dhinna, for example, you have to play dhinna with the right hand finger for dhin, and again the right hand finger for na. So dhinna, there is a bit of a time lag involved that there has to be there between dhin and na. With dhin ne, because you're playing with the dhin with the index finger and the ne with the ring finger, the dhin ne can be played much faster. So the replacing the na with the ne in many places helps you play faster. So Tishra Jati Kaidas, na with ne and faster. These are the two of the main points. The other point is that uh, in many of the Kaidas there are pauses in the main theme itself. So you will have dha, dhin, dha, dha, a, dhin, dha. What this gives you the ability to do is modulate the dha, and then you have time between the dha and the dhin to do something more with the baya. If you, for example, if you had dhage dhinge, dhage dhinge dhage, there you don't have as much time because between the dha and ge there is no time to do modulation. With the dha a dhin dha a, there is time for you to do some modulation on the baya and achieve some kind of a tonal quality that was not as audible as it would be in uh, if these pauses weren't there. So after these modulations are therefore a very important feature in the Ajrada Gharana. Another unique point about the Ajrada Gharana Kaidas is that the Khali part begins in a different way. Now, in a regular Kaida that we've all been doing so far, a non-Ajrada Gharana Kaida, if the first part, the Bhari part, begins with Dhati Tirtha, the Khali part will be Tati Tirtha. All the dhas are just changed to, all the dhas are changed to tas, all the dhins are changed to thins. So it's very, very straightforward. In Ajrada Gharana Kaida, that Khali part, just the beginning of that Khali part, the first one or two beats will be completely, totally different. And that makes it very unique. And it's kind of, when you're listening to this Kaida, it's like your eyes, you kind of jump out of your skin because, like, hey, what was that? That's not what you're expecting to hear. And that's very, uh, very sort of charming to hear this difference in the Khali part. So that's about what makes the Ajrada Gharana, we will move on later in a different video to playing some phrases that are unique to Ajrada Gharana, or not necessarily unique, but they come often in the Ajrada Gharana. So stay tuned.